Greetings, mighty companions.
Hello, friends and family. How's everybody doing this week as we join together once again in Evergreen, Colorado for
Transforming relationships through A Course in Miracles. Got relationships? Need some happiness? You've come to the right place.
Yes.
Course in Miracles has a lot to say about relationships because according to A Course in Miracles, relationships are the temple of the Holy Spirit. Did you know that?
Well, we do now.
The Course in Miracles says that it's the relationships that are given to Spirit that become the temple through which Spirit transforms hell into heaven. Who knew? Who knew that our relationships had such a mighty purpose in turning hell into heaven?
And we say this every week. This class literally is for everyone. Some people might say, well, I'm not in a relationship, nor do I plan on getting in one. Well, I tell you what, if you are around the world in any capacity,
In a body.
you are in a relationship.
Yes, you are.
You can be in a relationship with the bed you're sleeping in.
With yourself.
The house that you're living in.
Yes.
With your car.
Your neighbors.
With your bank account.
Your neighbors.
But we really
Family.
like to focus on the real deal is what is the course application for us when we're in relationship with other, what I like to refer to as children of God.
Human beings.
Other creations
Yes.
of Creator.
Exactly.
When we're in relationship with our brothers and sisters, what is the best remedy to handle that relationship? Because all relationships can either go south, and you know what that might be.
We know what that feels like.
Or they can go heavenly.
Exactly. So it's through your relationships that you either experience hell on earth or heaven on earth. You know, how do you relate to other human beings? How do you relate to your source? How do you relate to your spirit? How do you relate to others? That is what determines whether you experience hell on earth or heaven on earth. It's all according to the quality of your relationships. And we are in relationships with everyone and everything. So, I love it.
The comment here, I am happy.
Susanna says, I'm happy.
I received my heaven today. I finished my book today.
Oh, congratulations, Susanna.
Well, good for you.
Congratulations.
And if you finish the book, then you know at the end of the book that our function, we have a function given to us by our loving Creator, and that function is to be happy.
Yes.
So by you saying I'm happy, sounds like you read the book.
And you're fulfilling your function.
And it sounds like you're doing
Exactly.
a good job. Let's have a drink of that.
Susanna, you have finished your book and fulfilled your function. So congratulations. Good job. Very nice. It's a miracle. Beautiful. So now we're going to do our opening meditation prayer. And this is where we invite Spirit to decide for us where and what in A Course in Miracles we hear tonight. Trusting that our higher self, the self that we all share, knows exactly what we all need to hear today to bring us peace and happiness. So we're going to do that opening random number generator prayer, and we're going to see where Spirit directs us to in A Course in Miracles today.
Yeah, the one thing the Course teaches us, the one thing that the teacher of God learns is that they make no decision on their own. No decisions on their own.
By themselves.
Small ones, big ones.
Yep.
They all of our decisions are turned over to our loving Holy Spirit helper who helps us make the right decision. Because when we tend to make decisions on our own, because in the back of our mind we believe that we deserve punishment, we usually have a pretty good 1,000% batting average that we're going to make the wrong decision. If you think you deserve punishment, you're not going to make the right decision. But if you invite Spirit in, as we're getting ready to do right now, then case closed.
That's right. Amen to that. All right. So if you haven't already, close your eyes, and we're going to do our not so random number generator prayer. All All right, so close your eyes and take a breath. And bring your mind out of the future, and bring your mind out of the past, and bring your mind home to rest in the present moment right now. The only time there is. And breathe it in. Breathe in this perfect, precious moment. Telling yourself silently, the present is my point of power. And that everything I could possibly want for peace and healing and joy and abundance is here right now within me, waiting for my open mind and my desire. And so breathe in this moment now, opening your mind, opening your heart to what is here for you right now. And breathe it in. And what does it feel like to experience the eternal present moment? What does that feel like? A present moment that is eternal. The eternal now. And feeling the eternal now, let's go ahead and see if we can perceive and feel for the eternal spirit within us that abides in the eternal present moment. Feeling for that spirit within you. Telling yourself, I have within me an eternal spirit. Within me right now is an eternal spirit that knows me completely and loves me eternally, forever, without condition. I have a divine right mind within me that knows me completely and loves me without condition and has not abandoned me no matter what mistakes I have made. And I acknowledge that spirit within me, and I thank that eternal, unconditionally loving spirit within me. And I give this time to that spirit within me. And I ask this eternal spirit within me to decide for me what I hear in this session today. And so we say to our divine right mind, be you in charge of this time. Be you in charge of this healing circle. Decide for healing and joy and inspiration for me, because I know that your direction and your guidance will bring me peace. Thank you. Be you in charge. And to that we say, amen.
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 I love how you're reminding in the prayer that, Creator is a creator holding out unconditional love to us. Mm-hmm. And we all have heard that God is unconditional love. And then we turn around and create religions and belief systems that say, well, wait a minute. Let's put some conditions on God's love. Mm-hmm. you need to dress like this, you need to talk like that.
Do this, don't do
this.
that.
We have, depending on what organization we sign up with, that list can grow pretty long. But it truly is real that God has unconditional love.
Yes.
He doesn't love us and say, well, could you imagine, God at a wedding with us and staying there and does his wedding vow and says, well, before I say I do, I love you, I want to read off a whole list of things.
Uh-huh.
And then you agree to all those things and promise never, ever to break those, because, if you do, not only will I not love you anymore, but
I'll send you to hell forever.
I'll send you away forever, and I don't ever want to have anything to do with you anymore.
But I love you.
Even though I say I never leave you or forsake you,
I was just kidding.
I forgot to put in a caveat into that to say, as long as you obey all of my,
commands,
commands.
which are in a book this thick. Yes.
But anyway, I love how you brought that up.
Thank you.
Let's get into random number generators. A prayer's been said.
Da-da-da.
Boom. Number 5. Wow.
Chapter 5.
We've been at the end of the book, it seems like, for quite a while.
A long time.
The past month.
That's right.
And now we're going to go all the way back to the front of the book, to chapter 5.
Chapter 5.
And let's see how many paragraphs we have. And we're doing the annotated version tonight.
Yeah.
The purple book.
That's right.
The original.
And there are 10. So
The original writing that came through Helen Schuckman.
The scribe.
The scribe Helen Schuckman back in the 1960s.
A Jewish atheist.
A
Jewish
atheist.
Militant atheist who didn't believe in God.
Yeah, such a funny story.
Who then heard one day, "This is a Course in Miracles, please take notes."
And she thought, because she was a psychiatrist,
Right.
she thought, what?
She was going insane.
Because she was hearing
voices
in her head. So even as a psychiatrist, she knows what that means.
Yes. Means
And
you're going crazy.
Such a funny story. And it's the way, Spirit seems to do things in life.
Yes.
Brings so much humor to the table. And so she goes to a colleague and, tells him behind closed doors, I'm hearing these voices. And, I guess I'm going crazy. And luckily, the gentleman, Bill, that she went to,
Her psychologist colleague
yeah,
at Columbia University in New York City.
luckily he wasn't some guy that just, automatically assumes that
she was crazy.
she's crazy. And he encouraged her, well, because she knew shorthand, why don't you write down the next time you hear this voice, and write down what you hear and bring it back, and let's look over what you're hearing and just see how crazy,
and if it's crazy,
you are.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
He says, if it's crazy, I'll tell you.
And then when she brought it back,
then he was like, oh my, this is not crazy at all. This is really powerful. And literally, if her partner had not been, Bill Thetford had not been holding her hand while she was doing shorthand with the other hand, Course in Miracles might not have come through. So, A Course in Miracles, this is transforming relationships through A Course in Miracles. And A Course in Miracles is something that came through in response to Helen Schuckman in the midst of a particularly backbiting, competitive, ugly colleagues meeting at Columbia University in New York City, particularly vicious meeting, and Helen Schuckman says there's got to be a better way to relate to each other. There has to be a better way to relate to each other. There has to be.
Bill said it first.
Oh,
and then
Bill
she
said it first.
Join
That's
him.
right. And then Helen said, I join you in finding that better way. And as soon as that happened in that meeting, Helen began having a series of psychic and prophetic dreams And then after those psychic and prophetic dreams, heard a voice that said, "This is A Course in Miracles, please take note." So A Course in Miracles came in answer to two people saying there's got to be a better way to relate to each other that doesn't result in competitiveness and fighting and hatred and wars. That's what A Course in Miracles came from in response to. So literally two people saying there's got to be a better way to relate to each other than the ways we've learned how to relate to each other. That's what A Course in Miracles is. All right. So, interesting title. Now, this title is the original title, and in the blue covered edition, it was edited to something else. I don't remember what that is, but the original title of this section is The Question of Karma. And this is the only place in A Course in Miracles that I can think of that actually uses that word karma. And in the edited version, it's totally taken out. So in the edited version, there is no word that says karma. But apparently, the author of A Course in Miracles wanted to speak to that whole concept called karma that we all use every day, right? Mm-hmm. So, okay, great. So for in the annotated edition, the purple covered edition, it's Chapter 5, Section 7, The Question of Karma. So, I don't know where it is in the blue covered edition, but, if anybody finds it out there, let us know.
If you have a, what do they call that, concordance, you can try to Google this first sentence and maybe it'll help you find it in a blue book.
I don't think this first sentence is in there.
Oh, okay.
But you can wait till there's another sentence. Right, exactly.
That's right.
Okay. So it says the question of karma. About the question of karma. Most theories of reincarnation are essentially magical. Right? Magical, meaning illusionary. And the whole question of karma is not really necessary to religion at all. The chief value of the concept of karma lies in the concept's helpfulness in counteracting the idea of hell. So I'm going to say that again. The chief value of the concept of karma lies in the concept of karma's helpfulness in counteracting the idea of hell. Okay? And what is hell? It's a belief that is hard for the ego to relinquish.
The ego, our belief system, our belief that we deserve punishment, does not want to relinquish this idea about hell. Because if you believe that we deserve punishment, in fact that the day you were born, if you believe in this concept that the day you were born,
you're born in sin,
that you deserve punishment from the time you were born, then it's really hard to let go of any concept that wouldn't punish you. And hell, the description of hell that we've been taught is, of course, the ultimate punishment.
Yes.
And so if you believe in this idea that, well, we all deserve punishment, and I deserve punishment, then you really don't want to give up the idea. Even if you come to a decision in your life, well, I made it, I'm not going to be punished, but I still believe in the idea of punishment, that's how God does it, and so other people will still be punished, even though I am saved. And so the ego, which is a short word for the belief system and punishment, doesn't want to let go of the whole concept of hell.
Yes. And I didn't grow up with the concept you deserve punishment, but what I do remember is you were born in sin. And so I didn't hear the words you deserve punishment, but I did hear you were born in sin and everybody was born in sin, even little babies. Okay, so I did hear that, but it's the same thing, okay? And so those who have learned that they were born in sin, in whatever religion they learned that in, now the giving up of the idea of hell is a difficult thing to do. If you were born hearing, "Hey, you were born in sin," then the giving up of the idea of hell is hard to relinquish. It's hard to do. Okay?
For sure.
And most people weren't born learning you deserve punishment, but they sure as hell were born hearing you were born in sin. Okay? Right. Okay. Whatever religion you were born into. Now, it says that as the symbol of separation, the ego cannot escape guilt feelings, and so within your ego, fear of punishment is inevitable. Okay? Within the ego, fear of punishment is inevitable. Why? Because the ego cannot escape guilt feelings.
And why can't we escape guilt feelings? Because, again, we have that, religious organizations that we join up with that tell us what sins are. What things that if we do this or we do that we're going to not only get punished, but we're going to get punished for eternity. And so when we do any of these things, like some people, they're told if you go out dancing, then you're doing a sin. And if you don't repent, do something to clear the slate there, to make it right with Creator, then because you went out Friday night dancing, then of course you deserve to be tormented forever in hell. Now imagine turning on the news and you hear on the news, well, today the verdict came down for bad Frankie Louie, who went out dancing Friday, and the ruling of the judge was eternal punishment. Every day he will be punished forever. You would think for dancing, that doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem justified, just, and fair.
Oh, God was love.
Yeah, and the person, made a mistake, and you get what I'm saying? I know you do.
Absolutely. So, here's what A Course in Miracles is saying is that the ego is the concept of guilt and punishment. That's what the ego is. The ego is a belief in sin, the belief in guilt, and the belief in punishment. That's what the ego is. So that's what A Course in Miracles says. If you have an ego, then you have a belief in separation, which means you have a belief in guilt, which means you have a fear of punishment. That's what the ego is. The ego is nothing but the belief in sin and guilt and the fear of punishment. That's what the ego is. And every human has one. Almost every human has an ego that believes in guilt, which believes in punishment. Okay? And so that's so the ego is symbol of separation, symbol of guilt feelings, and the symbol of the fear of punishment. Okay, have you ever experienced anything like that? Fear, guilt, fear of punishment. That's what the ego is. Okay, so good to know what the ego within you is. It's not the part of you that's trying to protect you. It's not the part of you that loves you. It's the part of you that believes in sin. It believes in guilt. And so it believes in punishment. And it's always fearing punishment. Okay?
Now, part of your mind is walking around all day thinking that you deserve punishment. Then part of you is going to be looking for ways to punish yourself. You hear about relationships. They were in such a wonderful relationship, and then he or she just totally sabotaged that relationship. Mm-hmm. They're just or they sabotage their career, mm-hmm. or they sabotage their bank account, mm-hmm. And we're sabotaging all the time our happiness in life because there's a part of us that's really been brainwashed that's telling us, whispering in the background, you deserve punishment. And so look for ways to punish yourself.
But it's all unconscious.
Yeah.
So when Greg talks about a part of you that believes you deserve punishment, it is an unconscious part. There is none of us walking around going, I deserve punishment. It is all unconscious. So when Greg says there's a part of us that believes in punishment, that's not what I believe consciously, but I can say, yes, I can relate to feelings of guilt and shame, believing that, oh, I did that last week, or oh, I did that, and so now God is going to be mad at me, and now I got to be afraid of God. And so our belief in sin and the belief that we deserve punishment is unconscious. It's unconscious.
I've heard people in my life that, have had legs or arms cut off and literally said, well, this happened to me because I was supposed to be serving God and I rebelled and did my own thing.
Yes.
And you look at them and you're like, so you're telling me that God got mad at you and cut your arm off? I mean, imagine if we were in a marriage relationship and Anna made me mad, got me upset, she did something wrong. And my response was to take part of the limbs of her body off. Say, well, that'll show her.
Yeah, exactly.
That won't show her. That'll just make her, not want to be around me.
Exactly.
In fear of what would happen to her other arm one day.
But there was a time when you were angry at me, and then you almost took your own fingers off.
I don't know if that's you're talking about a different story.
All right. Okay.
I can see in that story.
Yes.
She's talking about I did a tile job, and I was mad at her about something, but and maybe so, but not because I was mad at you.
Yes.
But that's a great example on the fact that my unconscious mind, because I was mad at her, knew that I'm not supposed to be treating a brother or sister like that, and so I deserve some kind of punishment, and so I almost lost 2 fingers out of the deal.
Exactly.
But it wasn't nothing, that Anna did in any way.
Yeah.
It was all on my own doing, and it all come from something that I felt like I deserved.
Yes. Beautiful. And so what is the ego? Our ego is the symbol of separation. And as the symbol of separation, the ego cannot escape guilt feelings. And so fear of punishment is inevitable within our ego. Do not dwell on these fearful thoughts. Beautiful. Thank you. Course in Miracles. Don't dwell on these fearful thoughts. Wonderful. Then it says in paragraph 2, one of the main dangers of karmic theories is the tendency that karmic theories induce to engage in the genetic fallacy, overlooking the truly religious fact that now is the only time. I love that. So the truly religious fact is that now is the only time. And so the theories of the karmic theories are all about the past and what you are entitled to because of the past. Karmic theories are all about the past, what you deserve from the past. But what is truly religious is that now is the only time. And truly religious facts, they look only to the past. Karmic theories look to the past for an explanation of the present, but karmic theories do not succeed in separating the past from the present. It says, karmic theories recognize that mind is the builder, but karmic theories do not realize that it is only what is building now that really generates the future. And interesting. So the truth is that the only thing creating the future is right now. What are you thinking right now? What are you feeling right now? What do you desire right now? That's what's creating your future, not what you did in the past. Not what you did in the past this lifetime, not what you did in the past of past lifetimes. That's not what's creating your future. What's creating your future is what you are thinking and feeling and believing right now. That's what the truth is recognizing. Karmic theories do not realize that it is only what is building now that really generates your future. The past in itself does not have the ability to generate your future. What? The past in itself does not have the ability to generate your future. Whatever happened in the past, whatever happened in your past, I mean whatever. Yeah, whatever happened in the past, it does not have the ability to generate your future. How about that?
I love it.
How about that? I would love to, I love that whatever happened in the past doesn't have the ability to generate my future. Mm-hmm. But what does have the ability to generate my future is what am I wanting and desiring and believing right now?
Yeah, one minister back in Texas many years ago told me, or didn't tell me, he was, in like this prayer service helping somebody, and they asked him, why isn't my life getting any better? In fact, since I, started reading the Bible and coming to this church, my life has only gotten worse. And they told the pastor that, this has been going on for several years. It just keeps getting worse and worse. And the response was, well, the reason it's getting worse is because of all the bad things you did in your life.
That's
and
karma.
So all those bad things, are coming back and are the produce that you have to eat from all the seeds that you planted. Mm-hmm. And so you have to get through all that before you can get into the good harvest. So you must have did, a lot.
So then the Bible actually teaches karma.
No. The Bible doesn't teach any of that.
In
the
content.
Interpretation that minister had of what they read in the Bible was that karma is real.
Okay, gotcha. So in content...
But they don't teach karma.
Of course, they don't say the word.
They don't even, they don't.
But in content, they're saying to that person, the sins of the fathers
go down to this generation.
However many the sins of the fathers go down this many generations into the children. That's karma. Mm-hmm. But if you go to a church and you say, well, what about karma? They go, oh, that's a Middle Eastern concept. We don't believe in that. Right. But actually, karma is a concept that what you did in the past is what determines your future. Mm-hmm. And of course, in miracles, it is saying that it's not the past that determines your future. It's what are you thinking right now? Yeah. What are you wanting right now? What are you believing right now? So forget about your past. What you did in the past doesn't matter. And I love that. I really do love the idea that what mistakes I made in the past don't matter. They're not determining my future. My future is coming from what am I deciding and believing right now. And what I want to believe in the right now that's going to determine my future is I want to believe that there is no sin and that I'm not guilty. That yes, I can be mistaken, but I'm not guilty. I'm not sinful, and I deserve only love, whatever mistakes I have made. That is what I want to believe right now, so that I can have a future unaffected by whatever mistakes I've made in the past. And of course, in miracles is saying that what determines your future is now. What are you thinking now? What are you desiring now? What are you believing right now? So I love it because that means we don't have to feel guilty about our past anymore. Can you imagine? I don't have to feel guilty about my past.
I love how it says that mind is the builder, but the people that believe in karmic do not realize that it is only what is building now, the mind building now, that really generates the future. The mind is so powerful, our consciousness is so powerful, it's what is manifesting our experience.
Yes.
So
not our past.
If you ever wonder, I don't know if you've ever had a wondering thought like this, why is the world so crazy? Why is it so crazy? Why do we have all these wars going on? Why do we have all this violence? And just seems like on every other corner now, there's just a crazy story going on.
Yeah, of violence.
Well, if you've been teaching an entire world that they deserve punishment, and so in the unconscious mind of the world, we're all believing that we deserve punishment, then the world is a beautiful mirror reflection of an inward condition. We have been taught that we deserve punishment, and we're seeing the world manifest an experience of what it would be like if we all deserved punishment. We're all born into punishment.
All born in sin.
Then it's justified that we have mass shootings and wars and people stealing Cadillac converters off of cars and breaking into homes and raping and all kinds of stuff going on in our world, because we were all taught badly from the beginning that rightly so we deserve punishment. Well, could you imagine if we start retraining the minds of our brothers and sisters around the globe, just do an experiment for a while, what would it be like if we taught each other that we only deserve love, we only deserve kindness,
no matter what mistakes we've made,
you only deserve joy no matter what mistakes you've made, you only deserve peace. The Prince of Peace isn't for just one person, it's for all the children of God.
Yes, no matter what mistakes we've made.
And I'm with Anna and others like us believe in this thought process, and because we've been watching our life, I was raised up in Christianity with the Bible, started out Southern Baptist, and so this belief system and guilt and punishment was really down-rooted to the core for me. So when I came to A Course in Miracles, it was blaspheming on the highest level. And not only that, I taught in a church for 5.5 years. So I knew the Bible, I knew the scriptures, I knew the message very well. And so this whole concept that we don't deserve punishment was very foreign to me, and not just foreign, but it was very offensive. But once I started out applying the principles of this new idea, this new concept of, wow, I don't deserve punishment. Not only do I not deserve punishment, but Anna doesn't deserve punishment. My coworker doesn't, my boss doesn't, my neighbor doesn't, the guy behind the counter at the store that's having a bad day, and the way he's talking to me doesn't deserve punishment. The person that cut me off in traffic doesn't deserve punishment. When I start living my life to where I don't believe people deserve punishment, then I start blessing people. Then, talk about karma, if you want to believe in karma, all of a sudden, now my mind is looking for ways, my unconscious mind is looking for ways to bless me, to bless myself. And so what is the course that you were just saying it today about, I can only unto myself? I forget it, we were talking about, anyway, to come back to us sooner or later. But imagine your life, what it becomes when you start realizing, oh, this isn't a joke. I start applying these principles, and it's not a joke, because now all of a sudden people look at our life and go, man, you guys are rich, or man, how come everything seems to be going your way? Well, it's not because we're luck buckets, it's because we're reprogramming our minds that we don't deserve punishment.
Because we don't believe in sin.
Because we don't believe in sin. Sin is the whole idea of punishment.
Exactly.
And then, just because we changed our mind, we didn't change our job. We didn't change our relationship with someone else. We stay with each other. We didn't change the car we're driving. But all of a sudden, our life started changing from a life of constant problems, constant drama, constant issues, to this works out, that coincidentally working out, this is magnificent, look at how wonderful that is, wow, how fun was that? And it demonstrates how powerful our mind is. Our mind is now co-creating with heaven, manifesting joy, peace, and happiness. Now.
Yes. Beautiful. Thank you. It's beautiful. And Tony Lucky Winston says, when you discover we are the creators of life and not the victims, as most religions make us out to be, it is the shift. That's why I love the Course.
Yes.
Beautiful. Me too,
Excellent, Tony. Thank
Beautiful. Beautiful. It's a very deep concept, you know. The whole concept of karma, whether it's, you know, secular, spiritual, or religious, the whole concept of karma, it says, it teaches that it's the past that generates the future. And it says the past in itself does not have the ability to generate the future. I'm going to say that again. Your past does not have the ability to generate your future. I love that. So don't worry about your past relative to your future. Don't worry about the past. The past in itself does not have the ability to generate your future. And it says, whenever we move from one instant to the next, the previous instant no longer exists. Woo! Wow. So don't waste your time in worrying about what happened in the past relative to your future. Forget about it. Well, I can't have a happy future because of what happened to me in the past. I can't have a happy future. I can't have an abundant future because of what I did in the past. I can't have abundance in the future because of my financial mistakes in the past. I can't have happy, healed relationships in the future because of the mistakes I made in my past relationships. So, A Course in Miracles is saying that whenever you move from one instant to the next, the previous instant no longer exists. So forget about the past and only think about, what do I want to experience now? Now. Well, what I want to experience right now is no guilt, no fear, only love, only giving, where I only give love to everyone, where I only give release from guilt to everyone now. That's all I want to do now. Focus on that. Focus on that so that you can have a totally different future. Okay? So forget about what happened in the past. Don't worry about what happened in the past. What do you want to give and believe now? Because that's what's going to determine your future, not what happened relative to our past. We carry so much guilt around our past. I don't know about you, but I carry a lot of guilt around my past. Now, I did this, and I made this mistake, and I did this wrong, and I did that wrong, and I made that wrong relationship choice, and I made this wrong relationship choice, and I made that wrong choice, and that wrong choice, and I made that wrong choice in the past. I made so many wrong choices in the past. And so now, because of all those wrong choices I made in the past, now I'm terrified about my future. And I'm just sure that my future is going to be bad because of what I did in the past. And the Course in Miracles is saying that there is no connection between the past and your future unless you put it there.
Right.
Do you want a connection between your past and your future? I mean, unless you want to put it there, there is no connection between your past and your future. Unless you want it to be there. I don't want it to be there. I don't want it to be there. I want my future to be coming from what I decide right now. And what I decide right now is I'm not guilty. I'm innocent, and I only want to be love and give love, and that's all I want right now. That's what I want. You know, that's what I want right now, so that I can have a future different than my past.
Yeah, such a great point. A lot of us, you know, we've made mistakes in the past, and this bee right now,
It's a past bee.
it's a past bee. Yeah, we think we've made mistakes in our past, and so, excellent point. Some of us have put ourselves into relationships for 10, 20, 30 years that were sure to punish us real good. And why are they going to punish us? Because we feel like we've done something deserving of punishment.
Right. In the past.
And then we put ourselves into a relationship and wonder why we're so miserable for the rest of our life.
Yeah, well, and it's like this, you know, why is it that I have this pattern? Why is it that I have this pattern that seems to have started in my past and has continued into my present and my future? What's up with the pattern? What's up with the pattern? Why do I keep choosing the same kind of relationships? Why do I keep choosing the same kind of problems that I had in the past? Why? Because I'm feeling guilty about my past.
And so I put myself in the same relationship again and guarantee punishment.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Exactly. Whereas I don't have to do that. I don't have to have a future that has anything to do with my past if I don't want it to be. You know, I'm not a victim, like Tony Lucky Winston said, I'm not a victim of my past. Just because these are the mistakes I made in the past, that doesn't mean that has to be my future. Now, do you want your future to be like your past? Well, it doesn't have to be that way if you don't want it to be. Okay, that's not how time works. And to say, well, since I made these mistakes in my past, now I have to have a future full of punishment. That's called karma, or that's called punishment. Whatever religious term you want to call it. Every religion has a different term for it. Okay, so Hindu, Eastern, what's going to call it karma. Christianity is going to call it punishment. You know, every different philosophy is going to call it something different. But the truth is that it's not your past that's determining your present or your future. That is what A Course in Miracles wants you to hear. And if you want to have a future different from your past, it doesn't come from it comes from choosing a new thought and a new belief now.
Yeah, you hear these sayings like karma is a bitch, you know.
Yes.
And it is funny because what the Course is teaching here is, so you made a mistake. And so rather than walking around looking for a way to punish yourself,
unconsciously,
right now for something that happened yesterday or a week ago or a year ago, instead of walking around looking for a way to punish yourself, just realize that's not what you should be looking for.
Exactly. And A Course in Miracles is teaching that guilt, the feelings of guilt, the feelings of shame. Can everybody relate to that? Has anybody ever felt guilt? Anybody feeling shame right now? The Course in Miracles says that the feelings of guilt, the feelings of shame, which is the belief in sin, is a request for punishment. Okay? So it's not true that you're being punished for what mistakes you've made in the past. But it is true that the perception of guilt and the feeling of guilt and the feeling of shame, even though it ain't true, is an unconscious request for punishment from the universe. Okay? So it says guilt is an unconscious request for punishment. So when you are feeling guilt and you're feeling shame, you're actually you're requesting punishment. When you're feeling guilty, let's say you're feeling ashamed for something you've done in the past. Okay, I'm sure none of you feel guilty or ashamed of anything you've done in the past. I'm just talking, theoretically. Right?
You might know somebody.
You might know somebody who feels guilty about something they did in the past. Right. It says, when you feel guilty or ashamed of something that you've done in the past, you are unconsciously requesting that the universe come and punish you for that, so that the slate can be cleared. Because we all learned as children, no matter what religion we came up in, we all learned if you're guilty, once you get that punishment, you're clear. We all learned that. And so as soon as you start to feel guilty or ashamed of anything, you're unconsciously, don't forget unconsciously, inviting punishment. So to come and punish you and hurt you, so that the slate is wiped clean, so that you can proceed on in your life without feeling guilt. Okay? Just like when you're a little kid, you're like, okay, I know I shouldn't have stayed out past curfew, but once I get punished, then I'll be in the clear, it'll all be good, so give me my punishment. So that's what A Course in Miracles is saying, that about guilt, is that God is not the author of guilt and punishment. God is not the author of sin and guilt. But we learned it's a belief. Guilt and sin is a belief system that we learned. You're guilty. And we all, in that belief system, we learned you're guilty, and anyone who's guilty deserves punishment. And until you just get your punishment, you're still guilty. Okay? So the Course in Miracles is the Course in Miracles is an entire curriculum in you are not guilty. Just because you made a mistake, you're not guilty. A mistake is not a sin. A mistake is not a sin. Just because you made a mistake, you're not guilty. It's just a mistake. It's a call for love. It's a call for healing. So A Course in Miracles is saying that just because you made a mistake in the past does not mean that you have to have a future where you get punished for that. You could just go, okay, well, that was a mistake. That was a call for love, and I'm not guilty. It's just a call for love, and I ask for loving correction. And then you get loving correction instead of punishment. So how about that?
I can hear right now some of the viewers, whether it's right now or later, some of you possibly thinking, well, what would the world be if we didn't have punishment?
Or sin. I believe in sin.
Well, just punishment in general.
Yeah.
Just don't think about any other words. Just what would the world be if we didn't have punishment? Then we'd have all of these bad people running around free, doing bad things because nobody's punishing them.
Right.
And I can hear some people thinking with some human logic how sound mind that reasoning sounds like.
Exactly.
But, we've never tried it another way.
Right.
Think about if punishment worked, if that really worked, why is the world getting worse and not better?
Exactly.
If punishment worked, and we're doing a lot of punishment,
then we would be on heaven on earth.
In fact, here in America, we have more people incarcerated in jail and prison than almost anywhere else in the world.
Exactly.
And are things getting better here in the country that is doing more punishing than any other place in the world? It doesn't seem like it to me. It doesn't seem like that theory is panning out very well.
Yes, exactly.
And so why not give unpunishment a chance?
Exactly.
Why not give love a chance and see what the world would be like if we didn't punish people? Just tried it out for, a little bit just to see what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're thinking, and it is true, well, that's too much to ask the whole world to get on board with this idea. You're right. But what we're doing is, let's try it just one-on-one.
See what happens.
That's what Anna and I did. We agreed that we're going to have a relationship that's based on not punishing each other.
Right.
And
called forgiveness.
And and guess what? We're both experiencing, we've been through more relationships, more marriages than we would really care to share with you. But and really that's good news, because we have a good scoreboard now to work off of. We have all the relationships, and we're not saying at all, don't hear this wrong, we're not saying at all that the people we were with were bad people. We're saying that our belief system that we were carrying in those relationships were bad. And the results of that belief system made for a bad relationship. Wasn't the person, wasn't me, wasn't them, it was our beliefs. But when you get into a relationship and the two of you agree, let's try it out. Let's try, when you do something that I feel like is wrong, rather than me punishing you somehow, like I'm not going to talk to you for 3 days now, or, one of 1,000 other things that I can do that I think would punish the person. Instead of doing that, like Happy Gilmore, instead of throwing the golf club, let's hold the golf club and stop for a moment and
do something different.
Okay, I'm going to try something that I haven't ever done before, because I've been doing that old way all my life. And just like Helen and Bill said, there's got to be a better way.
Yes.
There's got to be another way of doing things.
Yes, then punishing. Is an attempt to.
And that's what their thing was, is they were going into those psychiatric meetings. And I don't know if they were once a week, do you know?
I don't know, but they were punishing each other.
Yeah, they were going. Have you ever been in a corporate meeting?
Yeah.
They were at a hospital.
Attacking each other.
Psychiatric ward. And when all of the psychiatrists and workers came together in this room, they were all, it's your fault.
Attacking each
Things
other.
aren't going right because you're not running your department right, and you're not doing your job, and blah, blah, blah. And it was attack,
right.
to the point that Bill was just like losing his mind, like, I don't even want to come to these meetings anymore because they're so horrid. They're so horrible. It's so brutal how we're attacking each other. And then when him and Helen, they didn't know the answer yet. They didn't know that love was the way.
Yes.
They still were under the old paradigm, punishment is the way.
Yes.
But when they joined together in the idea there's got to be a different way to do this than we've been doing it, that's because now their mind is open to receive.
Exactly.
When you're not open to receive, you're just going to keep doing it the same old way you've been doing it.
Exactly. And when two people agree that they that they are open to a better way, then literally, then their minds open to a better way from on high.
And if our experience is coming from our mind, then that's what we need to get healed, is the way our mind operates.
Exactly. And I love it that it's reminding us that I love it when it says, whenever we move from one instant to the next, the previous instant no longer exists. So that, what it's telling us is that my future isn't coming from what happened in my past. So forget about that, and my future is going to come from what I'm thinking and choosing right now. So forget about what happened in the past. What do you want right now? What do you want right now? That's the way to have a future unlike your past. Stop worrying about what happened in the past and start focusing on what you want now, right?
Yeah, if you want joy, peace, and happiness now, then you have to relinquish this idea of hell and punishment now.
What happened in the past.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
All right.
Beautiful. And so it says, paragraph 3.
And I just want to see what Demi says there. It's really true.
Yeah.
In fact, the Course says, don't ever underestimate the ego.
The insanity of the ego.
Yeah, don't ever underestimate it. And I love how she points out it can often be difficult to sort out our past choices because our belief in punishment, the ego, is so crafty.
Indeed.
So crafty.
Indeed. But you can, from what I hear and what I'm hearing, you can discern the ego from what's true by, to what extent are you going, oh, the past. So if you're not in your ego, you'll be like, forget about what happened in the past. What do I want right now? What do I want to believe right now? What am I choosing right now? So the ego never does that. The ego never says that. The ego's like, well, because of what happened in the past, I deserve this, and they're gonna pay like that, and because of what happened to me in the past, this is what I The ego is all about what happened in the past and what you deserve because of what happened in the past, or what you can't have because of the past. The ego is all about the limits on now because of what happened in the past. So if you're in that mindset at all, you know that you're thinking with the ego. So great comment and question, Demi. Beautiful. Hi, Indira. Lovely to see you. Indira says, love you both. We love you too, Indira. Beautiful. So now we're in paragraph 3. This Course in Miracles will lead to something quite different than past life readings. Why? Because A Course in Miracles points only to the future. Past life readings point to the past. A Course in Miracles points only to the future. Very interesting. A Course in Miracles leads to a future that you will know. Very interesting. So when you're looking at past life readings, like, will you please read my karma? What's my karma? Okay, that's reading the past. A Course in Miracles doesn't read your past. A Course in Miracles is like, let's talk about what you can have from here on this point forward, if you would like to. Very different.
And we can do a reading for any of you right now. and here it is. Good.
Yeah, exactly.
You deserve peace.
Right.
You deserve happiness. You deserve joy.
Right. And a true reading of the future, like, okay, a true psychic reading of the future will be like, oh, just tell me what you're thinking now. Okay, wonderful. That's going to be your future.
Yep.
Oh, that's so wonderful. How much owe you? $500. Oh my gosh, she read my future. How'd you do that? She just asked me what I was thinking now. And then she told me what my future was going to be. So you don't need to know your past. Your past has nothing to do with what your future's going to be. So forget about your past. Don't feel guilty about your past. Don't feel angry about your past. Forget about the past. It's not what's determining your present or your future. Hallelujah.
What's in your mind?
Yes.
Right now, this second.
Yes.
That's going to determine your experience in your future.
Exactly.
And if your mind right now doesn't matter what your past was thinking, good or bad.
Right.
But what your mind is thinking right now, if it's thinking, I don't deserve to be punished,
right,
then that determines your future.
Exactly.
If your mind right now is thinking you deserve, if you're still caught in that paradigm of I deserve punishment, then that is going to be the determiner of your future. And then you wonder why your life is so crappy. It's because your mind's so crappy.
Exactly. And of course, and then the next sentence is, there was a past, but the past doesn't matter. I love that. Now, why is it that even though there was a past, it doesn't matter? The past doesn't matter because your past does not explain the present, which means your past doesn't account for the future. So it doesn't matter. Isn't that a relief to hear that your past doesn't matter? That's a relief to me. I love hearing that my past doesn't matter because I feel guilty about most of my past. I didn't do this right, I didn't do that right, and then I made this mistake, and then I made that mistake, I didn't do that right, and then my timing was bad on that, and my timing was bad on that. You know, I have so much regret and guilt about my past. I didn't do this good enough, didn't do that good enough. And of Course in Miracles is saying that your past has nothing to do with your future. So don't matter what kind of mistakes you made in the past. It doesn't, for real. Whatever mistakes I made in the past does not matter. It doesn't determine what my future's going to be. Man, I like that. I mean, I'm not sure I deserve that or believe that, but that would be nice. That my future has nothing to do with my past.
Now, since you brought up the cutting my fingers off story.
Sorry, honey. Sorry, baby.
Well, it was obviously meant to be because I just keep hearing the same things. I gotta say it. So here's an example. I don't know if any of you have been in a relationship with your partner where you got mad at them.
No, I'm sure they haven't. No, I'm sure you haven't.
I forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I went through a day or two where I don't have no idea why I was mad at Anna, what I was upset about. But I was upset about something like, what happens in relationships. And I'm mad at her, but I'm in a bathroom, building a bathroom for her that I know she would love. And the tiles that she picked out were, they were
the heaviest
tiles that the store sells. They were travertine, and they were 24 inches wide one way and 12 inches the other way, and they were very heavy.
And of course, the most expensive, of course.
Yeah,
yes.
And so the point is what I'm hearing Spirit tell me right now is yesterday in the past, I was mad at her. While I'm doing the bathroom job, I'm still upset with her. But yesterday is when I was really mad at her. And I'm hanging the tiles up on the wall just before the finger accident. And it's at this moment right now that determines my future. And right now, I still believe in punishment. That I deserve punishment because I'm treating my brother or sister badly.
Yes.
That I'm judging them, I'm condemning them.
He was believing I was deserving of punishment.
Yeah. And so if you believe somebody else deserves punishment, then you're believing in the concept of punishment, period.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you think, well, I don't deserve punishment, they deserve punishment. And so right now, as I'm doing the tile job, it's the perfect opportunity in my unconscious mind for the setup to happen to cut my 2 fingers off.
And he did.
And I did.
Yeah.
And just to show you though, I still have my 2 fingers.
Yes.
The doctor was literally cutting just the skin of them off to take the rest of my finger off. And I told him, don't do that. I need those fingers.
Yes.
And so they stitched them back up, and he said, well, they will never work, and you're not going to have fillings in them ever again. And guess what? A Course in Miracles.
A Course in Miracles.
But even though I punish myself,
yes.
I still,
exactly.
because I'm believing, I don't know if that's why it happened, and I can't explain the universe yet, but I do know that I have my fingers and I have full fillings in them.
Exactly.
And but I think the reason for the healing is because I was still in the learning stages of, I don't deserve punishment. I don't deserve punishment. I don't deserve punishment. And evidently, my now belief came through.
Exactly. And in that story that Greg's telling you, that even though Greg in the past thought that he deserved punishment, that I deserved punishment, and and then his fingers were almost cut off, that it didn't matter what he believed or what happened in the past. When Greg and I joined in that he didn't deserve punishment and that he was innocent no matter what mistakes he had made, then his fingers were healed. So it didn't matter what happened in the past. But when he decided in the present that he didn't deserve punishment, and he decided I didn't deserve punishment, then the future was a future where he kept his fingers, and they're all well and good. So, it's a great example of that.
Yeah, in our life, of course, when we lost our fingers, we would say, well, this is just, my reward for something I did bad in the past. But the past had nothing to do with it. What had everything to do with it is at the moment that those tiles were in the story, my mind was believing in that now moment, that nothing to do with the past at all. But at that instant, my mind believed I deserved punishment, and I gave myself that punishment.
Exactly.
Nobody else did it.
And then after that, when we're deciding in that present moment, not what happened in the past.
Right. Great point. Just because the fingers were cut, I still am not a victim of my past, and so now I have this to live with because of my past. I still can take this moment right now, just like you can, right now, and totally change your whole future from the way you have been believing it has to be.
Exactly. So whatever has happened in your past, it doesn't matter. Your past doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because you can have a future unlike your past if you want one. Would you like a future different from your past? Your past is not the determiner of your future. I'll say that again. Your past is not the determiner of your future. What is the determiner of your future is what you are deciding right now.
In your mind.
In your mind. Do you want forgiveness, or do you want guilt? What you are deciding right now is the determiner of your future. It's never the case that your future is determined by your past. This section is saying your future is not determined by your past. This section is saying that your future is determined by your present moment decision. And so, what do you want right now? Do you want punishment? Do you want guilt? Do you want fear? Do you want anger? Or do you want forgiveness? Do you want learning? Do you want a loving correction? What do you want right now? That's the determiner of your future, not what happened in your past. And that's why you don't need to feel guilty about your past ever. I mean, how beautiful is that? I do not need to feel guilty about my past, because my past has no power. It's not my past that's determining my future. How nice is that? I don't know about you, but for me, I've had a lot of guilt about my past. And as a psychotherapist, I've sat with a lot of people who've had a lot of guilt about their past, right? And so it's wonderful to hear that it's not our past that's determining our future at all. That's a miracle. What a blessing. And if you in any way, shape, or form feel guilty about your past, and so you're afraid of your future, just remember that your future isn't determined by your past. Your future is determined by what you are believing and thinking and choosing right now. So what do you want right now? Do you want guilt, or do you want release from guilt? Do you want love, or do you want vengeance? That's what's going to determine your future, not what happened in the past. I love that.
I remember one time overhearing you sitting at with some friends, and this person was telling you how in their childhood this horrible thing happened to them, and it wasn't any private conversation. We were in a group gathering, and I remember Anna looking over at this person that had this, traumatic thing happen to them in their childhood, and said, "Oh, well, what do you want now? I hear what happened then, but so what do you want now to experience in your life?" Because they were giving that story as the reason why they couldn't be happy now.
Or in the future.
Or in the future.
Yes, right.
So,
yes,
all right.
Beautiful. I love it. Okay, so it says that, yes, there was a past, but the past doesn't matter. Why? Because the past does not explain the present. That means the past doesn't account for the future. I love it. There is no connection between the past and the future unless you want to put it there. Don't put it there. And it says, patients in psychotherapy frequently go over their childhoods in some detail.
I didn't even see that.
Exactly.
So wonderful.
And patients in psychotherapy go over their childhoods at considerable expense.
Mm-hmm.
And when patients in psychotherapy go through their childhood, it merely encourages their ego to become more tolerable to their egos. And the author of a course says, I would hardly want you to repeat the same error. The author of A Course in Miracles was like, I don't want you to make that error of just going over and over your childhood so that your childhood and your egos become more tolerable to you. That is not the goal of healing. That's not how healing is accomplished. That's an error. Now, it says, you may be curious to know about your past. Indeed. And knowledge is not won through curiosity. Curiosity is an ego attribute. Knowledge can be found only if knowledge is sought in order to give knowledge to someone else. Interesting. So, in other words, like sometimes, like, I want to know about my past lives. Why? Because I think it would be interesting. I'm curious. Well, then, that's not helpful. That's not how you find knowledge. Knowledge isn't like, I'm curious about what I was doing in the past. That's not the key to knowledge. Key to knowledge is, I want to know something so that I can be more helpful to others. That's how knowledge is found. But most of us are like, I want to know what I was doing in my past lifetime because, if I was King Richard, I'd be like very proud of that. Yes, question or comment? Beautiful.
Just reminds me of King Solomon.
King Solomon?
In what way?
In what way?
King Solomon was supposed to be the next king after King David. And the customary sacrifice for a new king was 1 bull. And King Solomon sacrificed 1,000 bulls.
Bulls or bulls?
Bulls.
Bulls.
B-U-L-L-S, like...
Oh, bulls.
Male
bulls,
cows.
like a bull. Okay,
Yeah.
right, male cows. Okay.
Yeah, because he was wealthy, and we
Yes.
talk about how King Solomon was the
Yes.
wealthiest person.
Right.
And so it says in the scriptures, it says that King Solomon was visited by God in a dream. Not by a messenger, not by an angel, but by God. And God asked him what he wanted, and he said, wisdom.
Yes, exactly.
And then God responded that, I love that.
See?
So I'm paraphrasing, of
Yes.
course, but I love that so much that not only are you going to get wisdom because you asked for wisdom so you could care for these people as a king,
Right.
but because of that, I'm going to make you wealthier than anybody's ever been and make you more famous than anyone's ever been.
Exactly, because he valued knowledge, wisdom, instead of wealth.
And not just knowledge and wisdom, but wisdom for the sake of service.
Yes.
What we just read
Exactly.
there, knowledge can be
Knowledge for the
only if
benefit
it
of
is sought to
others.
give
So
someone
beautiful.
else.
Exactly.
That's so beautiful.
Knowledge can be
So
found
beautiful.
only if knowledge is sought to give it knowledge to someone else.
Yep.
So if you want knowledge so that you can be more special and be more, oh, look at me, I'm so wise, I'm so knowledgeable, then you will not find real knowledge or wisdom. I love it. Knowledge or wisdom can be found only if knowledge is sought to give it to someone else. Wow, so beautiful, exactly. Great example, Jordan. It says, this means that you are ready to appreciate knowledge's real value, which means you have already accepted knowledge's worth for yourself.
Jerry says, who is the ninja walking behind you?
Jerry says, who is the ninja walking behind us?
There's
a ninja walking behind us?
We don't
What are you
have
talking about?
any ninjas here at all, Jerry.
I mean, we've heard about the evergreen ninja that sometimes appears.
But we haven't had a sighting
No,
like
we haven't
that
had a sighting
years.
for years and years and years. So I don't know what you're talking about, Jerry.
There's no ninjas here.
There's no spirit ninja here. I mean, we wish there was, but you know.
But thanks for asking.
But thanks for asking, Jerry.
If we ever see one here, we'll let you know.
And it says, this means that you are ready to appreciate knowledge's real value and have already accepted knowledge's worth for yourself. Wow. So when you say, I want knowledge, I want wisdom, but you're wanting it for some other purpose than to give it to be helpful to others, then you're not really asking for knowledge or wisdom, you're asking for specialness. But when you are asking for knowledge and wisdom for the purpose of giving it to others, now you are making a request for knowledge and wisdom that cannot be ignored, and you will receive knowledge and true wisdom. But why do you want knowledge? Why do you want wisdom? Is it for specialness? I'm so special. Or do you want it so that you can be of benefit and help to others? That's a very good question. Annette Breton says, you are gods playing different roles. You are in everyone and everyone in you. Beautiful. And Demi says, share knowledge and service and watch your life multiply. Very good, Demi. You got it. You got it, Demi. Very true. Beautiful. And Kong. Hi, Kong. If you're still watching, lovely to see you, my dear. Lovely to see you. And hi, Kelly Leveau. Beautiful. Lovely to see you all. Lovely. So do you want knowledge? Do you want wisdom? Okay. Do you want knowledge? Do you want wisdom? If you truly do want knowledge and wisdom, why do you want it? Do you want it for specialness? Or do you want it so that you can give more to others to help release them from fear and pain and suffering? Okay, so if you're like, oh, I want knowledge and wisdom, but I haven't received it yet, ask yourself why you want it. And shift your purpose for wanting it and see what happens. Okay, beautiful. It says, even when you cannot go to God with someone, you can go for someone and bring knowledge back to someone. Wow, it's interesting.
A whole new twist on wisdom.
Yes.
You know, we've been taught, many of us, to pray to wisdom and you'll receive wisdom.
Yeah.
And here the course is saying, well, what are you going to use that wisdom for? Are you praying for wisdom so you can, gain more financial security in life for yourself?
Or power, fame, money, and physical pleasure.
Yeah, what are you praying for wisdom for? What are you asking? What are you seeking for wisdom for? Or are you seeking for wisdom so that you can be a benefit to your brothers and sisters?
Exactly.
And I love how it says, and when you do that, you will be benefiting yourself as well. And I love how it says how we can go to our helper, the Holy Spirit, and ask for help on somebody else's behalf.
Yes.
And that's great, because when people come to us, we had a very dear friend come to us this past week with a situation. Well, I would love to say Anna and Greg are just so brilliant that we have the answers. But what Anna and Greg did was take our friend's situation to Spirit, and we watched Spirit channel a beautiful wisdom and knowledge through Anna to this particular individual, and it was the answer, that wisdom that needed to come forth. But she wasn't praying for herself, she was praying for somebody else. And she was able to go to Creator, to love, to Holy Spirit, on behalf of that other person, and get the answer for that brother or sister that brought forth the answer that was needed.
Exactly. It's like A Course in Miracles says, you know, that giving and receiving are the same. All that I give is given to myself. And so if there's something in your life that you feel like you don't have enough of, something that you feel like you're lacking, A Course in Miracles is saying there's only one way in the whole wide world that you could perceive yourself as lacking of something, and that is that if you have not been giving it. And that, you know, if you had been giving it, you would know that you deserve it and you would perceive it. So whatever it is that you are perceiving yourself in lack of right now, A Course in Miracles says that is what you have not been giving. And so instead of figuring out why you haven't received it, just focus on, how can I give to someone else right now? What is it that I think I'm lacking? Let me go give that to somebody else right now. And then the Course in Miracles says, once you have focused on, let me give it to someone else, it doesn't matter who, then you will perceive that you have it right now. So there is no lack in the universe, but there is a perception of lack, and there is a belief in lack, and that only comes when you have not been giving it yourself to others. So ask yourself, what is it I think I'm lacking right now? Okay, let me go and give that to others, at least in content, if not in form, and then see what happens.
Give and it will be given unto you.
Exactly. So
well, we're already at 8:30.
Yeah, it's 8:30.
Boom.
So, boom.
And this is one of those sections. We always tell you to read the end, but this is one of those sections that it seems like it's skipping all over the place, talking about karma, talking about wisdom, talking about giving. But if you read through the rest of it, you'll see that it ties it all back in together.
Yes.
And so, as always, we encourage you, get back into it before you go to bed tonight or this weekend or some time off that you have in your quiet time. Finish the rest of this reading. It will be a powerful additive to what you've already taken in.
Exactly. We so appreciate you guys. So appreciate that you've used your very precious time to join this healing circle. We know how precious your time is, and we really appreciate it. So thank you for that. And if you would like to make a contribution to our Miracles Ministry, you can go to my website, annakujawa.com, or Venmo or PayPal, annakujawa1@gmail.com, and make a financial expression of appreciation, and thank you for that. We greatly appreciate it. And if you would like to support this Miracles Ministry without money, then you can just share this video on your Facebook or YouTube, or however you might like to share that. So thank you for your support, and thank you for your time, and we appreciate you more than we can say.
All right. Until next class,
thank you guys.
Have a great week.
Love you guys. See you next class.